the magistrate for Seminole County. We're going to go ahead and get started. The way the process works is a case will be called, the county will present its case first and all of its witnesses, any evidence that it has. You can cross-examine its witnesses, but you will not be permitted to submit any evidence until it's your turn to go. Once the county has closed its case, it will then be your opportunity to provide any witnesses or evidence that you have. I will make a decision here today as to whether a violation has occurred, and I will provide you with an opportunity to cure that violation. If you do not cure the violation within the time period that you are provided, you stand to have a penalty of up to $250 a day if you are here for a first-time violation, and up to $500 a day if you are here for a repeat violation. We do not follow the agenda in the order that it's printed. We have our own method to our madness up here, so please bear with us. If you have signed in, you will be called. If you haven't signed in, you need to sign in, so please make sure that you get in contact with a member of county staff if you have not. So the first case that we're going to hear today is 2551 CESM, Eric Rios and Jocelyn Rios. Go ahead and swear in any county witnesses that are going to be providing testimony today. If you will stand. County witnesses, only county individuals at this point. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Perfect. Now let me go ahead and swear you in as a translator. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English will be to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Now we're going to go ahead and swear him in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Ruth Goldstein, Building Division. Case 25-51 CESM is for the property located at 501 Grove Court in Altamont Springs. Property is owned by Eric I. Rios and Jocelyn E. Rios. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of sheds and storage container without the required permits. This slide shows the case summary. The initial inspection for this case was held August 8th, 2024. The notice to the respondent was also sent August 8th, 2024. The compliance dates and the extensions provided are shown on the screen, as well as follow-up inspections that were conducted on site and via the computer. The results of those re-inspections were that the violation remains on the property. And the next slide shows the property owner as Eric I. Rios and Jocelyn E. Rios. This next slide shows a photograph of the notice of hearing for this hearing. It was posted on the property June 30th, 2025. These are photos of the sheds and the storage container, as well as the field notice of violation shown on the left, which was taken, these photos were taken August 8th, 2024. The notice of code violation was left on site. These are more photos of the shed and the storage container that were taken during a later inspection, December 19th, 2024. Additional photos of the shed and storage container taken during the inspection, January 16th, 2025. And more photos from the inspection on April 17th, 2025. During the inspection, July 9th, 2025, the inspector noticed that the sheds remain on the property. This screen shows a copy of the permit history associated with this parcel. An application for a shed was received September 6, 2024. It's shown on the screen highlighted in red. It's actually, it's for 2 sheds. One is 10 by 20 and one is a 10 by 8. This permit will correct the violation once it is issued, however, it's currently under review. And there are corrections still required associated with the plan review. Go ahead. This slide shows the workflow for that permit application. That's permit application number 24-13599. The corrections task was submitted back to the applicant on July 3rd. There are comments from the building plan review team, and I believe those are all the comments that are required at this time, just building. The next slide shows the comments from the building review team. They need to clarify how each shed is anchored to the earth. Next slide, this is a copy of Chapter 40 in which they're in violation of. The recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-51 CESM, it is just determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 501 Grove Court, Altamont Springs in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records. They are in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before September 10th, 2025. In order to correct this violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. And if the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. Brent Griffin is the assigned inspector to this case. You can, yeah.
I'm Brent Griffin with the Seminole County Building Division. I have presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request to be entered into the record.
This concludes our presentation.
Okay. Is there any objection to the electronic case file being submitted into the record?
Yes,
There is an objection, or there's not an objection?
there is an objection.
There is. You do not, what is the objection? He needs to speak into the microphone.
Usted tiene que hablar entre ellos.
¿Lo puedo decir?
Sí, en español, está bien.
Recibí una notificación que dejaron de hacer algo sin permiso.
Receiving the notice of the unpermitted construction, the
Field energy.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
no sabe porque usted está objetando a esta evidencia. Si está bien para entregar como evidencia para el condado sobre su caso de violación.
Sí.
¿Está bien para
Sí.
entregar? Okay. Yes, it's good to enter as evidence.
Okay, I'll accept it. I'll accept the electronic case file into the record. I do have a question. So there are two sheds and the container. So the permit that's in process is for the 2 sheds. Can the container receive a permit?
The scope of work on the permit application appears to be a 10 by 20 shed and a 10 by 8 container.
Okay. So it's for the container and 1 shed.
Yes,
And so there's 1 shed that is not included in the permit application.
correct.
Okay.
is a third shed. It's behind this right here. That's, yeah, exactly. So boom, boom, boom.
He's stating he no longer has a container.
Okay, and when was the last time you all were out there?
I was out there yesterday.
And did you see the container?
I didn't see the container in the front, but I didn't have access completely to the back of the property. But I can go by and verify if it's gone, because it was right where that mower's at. So that's the picture from yesterday. So like I said, I can go by and verify if that's gone, and we can get rid of that portion of the permit.
But
From the picture, it appears that it's not there.
okay, but it also, the records show that you all have pulled, you have a permit that's applied for a shed and a container.
Tengo esto.
He has a new survey showing whatever is on his property.
Okay, so let me do this. Wait, hold on one second from the county standpoint. The permit that he has applied for says it's for a container and a shed.
He's stating it's only for the shed.
Okay, one shed. Are there two sheds on the property?
Sí, hay dos. Este.
Yes, there are two on the property.
So then the permits need to be for the two sheds on the property.
Cuando yo vine la primera vez,
The first time he came,
como este ya tiene más de 5 años de estar aquí, el de este pequeño,
The
me
one-
dijeron
the
que
smaller one.
no necesitaba permiso.
has been there for 5 years, and that he was told he did not need a permit.
Okay, unfortunately, that information is not correct. So the permit that you have applied for, can he amend it to include both the sheds as opposed to the container in the shed?
Yeah, so he can amend it to get rid of the container, and then there was notes that he needed to add the other shed.
It says two sheds on here.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it does actually on
One
9/6.
says a container. I thought.
but it says two sheds. One is 10 by 20, and
Okay.
then one 10 by 8 container, so it really is kind of misleading. So he'll need to clean that up. If it's two sheds, he needs to correct, and I think it's clear enough for your purposes that he could amend it slightly to just be for the two sheds.
Yeah.
If the container's gone. Okay, so do you feel like there is any reason you could not fully receive your permit by September? It would be the 10th.
Sí, sí lo puedo hacer.
He can have it done.
Okay. That's what the county has requested, so I'm going to, if you're fine with that, then I'll go ahead and order that you bring the property into compliance by receiving a permit for any of the unpermitted items. If you've removed the container, then that should satisfy this portion. But But you still will need a permit for the two sheds, including the one that's been there for 5 years. Okay, and so I'm going to order that you come into compliance by September 10th, and if you do not, that you will have a fine imposed of $250 a day. There will also be a compliance hearing scheduled for September 11th at 1:30. Okay. Do you have anything further you'd like to add?
Ahora con todo esto, ¿qué prosigue para lo del permiso que tengo que rectificar?
He's asking how he can rectify the permit and go forward from here.
You want?
You just have to go talk to the building department in the front, and they can help you out with it.
These are a copy of his review comments. I can give it to him.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and back up since I got ahead of myself, and I'm going to approve the consent agenda, allowing for the continuance recommended in case 2531 CESM Yahoo Properties LLC. Okay, the next case that we're going to call is 2533 CESM. Dominga de Pina. You need to come forward and have a seat, sir. Yes. Then I don't think we had Rios, that gentleman that just spoke. But his name wasn't Ray Rivera. So that's, his name is Rios. But- So I, okay, let me go ahead and swear you in, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please state your name and identify your relationship with the case?
She's my mother-in-law. My name is Raymond Rivera.
And Mrs. De Pena is your mother-in-law?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And she's authorized you to be here and speak on her behalf today?
Yes.
Okay.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator, Building Division. Case 25-33 CESM at 5214 Orange Avenue, Winter Park. This is owned by Dominga I. De Pina. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of a shed with electric and plumbing and replacing the main house building drain to septic tank without the required permits. The case summary is as follows. The initial inspection was conducted April 26, 2024, with the notice to the respondent sent the same day, April 26, 2024. The compliance dates and extensions provided are shown on the screen, as well as the follow-up site inspections and the inspections done by a computer research. The results of those re-inspections are that the violations remain on the property. The screenshot from the property appraiser's website shows Dominga I. De Pina is the record owner of the property. This is a photograph showing a copy of the notice of hearing for this hearing posted on the property June 30th, 2025. The next few slides are going to show the shed with the plumbing and electric. All of these photos were taken during the inspection April 26th, 2024. There's additional photos of the shed with the plumbing and electric. And this is a photo that's showing the main house drain to the septic tank which was replaced without a permit. These photos were taken April 26, 2024. This is showing the plumbing line on the property and additional photos of the unpermitted plumbing taken August 26, 2024. And here's a photo of the unpermitted shed taken July 9th, 2025. This slide shows the permit history for this parcel. There were 2 applications received May 3rd, 2024. There's a permit application for the laundry room and the shed. Both of these applications are currently under review. They have not yet been issued as permits due to corrections that are required by building, zoning, and drainage departments. This is the plan review workflow for permit application 24-6642, which is for the laundry room. This shows the progress of the application, and the task is currently on the applicant's side with corrections required.
So, I don't have, is it a laundry room addition? Is it,
Go back to the photo. It's a shed that has a laundry facility within it
oh, okay, but it's still just a shed?
with plumbing and electric.
Right, so it's not, because then on the permit slide, it shows me a shed and a laundry facility, but I thought there was only one shed.
That might have been taken from the description of work on the application. I can verify what exactly the verbiage is on the application for that.
Because
I'm
it's
not
really just
sure.
one item, right? One building. Now, there may be electrical permits and plumbing permits that go along with that shed, but, for the installation of the shed, but it's really just one facility?
I'm going to have to defer to the inspector who is on site.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be just the one facility, the shed with the laundry room in it.
Okay, and then why does the permit slide, is it showing that, are there electrical and plumbing permits that go along with that? Why is it showing as two separate? Because there are two separate numbers, too. Permit numbers.
The top permit is the alteration permit, the one that says 24 and the number is 6642, the one that's labeled as laundry room. The type is R434, which is a residential alteration permit.
Okay.
Without looking at it specifically, that might be where the electric and plumbing that ties into the shed. Those two permits may be working together, and we do have correction comments from building and drainage for both of those applications.
And then what's the next permit, the A?
A328 is a permit type for shed. That's a residential shed. So that R434 is an alteration permit. We would have to go back and look specifically at the description of work on the application and the trades assigned, but that might be the electrical and the plumbing portion, and it ties into the structural permit, which would be under the shed.
Okay, okay. So nonetheless, there's a shed, it has electric and plumbing in it that are tied to the main house, and that's a problem, so.
Yes, and if you need
okay.
it, there is a copy of the permit application for 24-6641 that's labeled shed on the slide showing there. The description of work says shed and laundry room and shed, electrical and plumbing.
Okay, and is there another permit that's still required that hasn't been applied for that's related to the change out of the drain to the septic tank?
That's where it is. That's the problem.
The laundry room permit application 6642 says that it's converted to toilet and sink laundry room moved to shed out back. Outdoor, to shed outdoors. So it would appear that both of these permit applications are being tied together for the structure that's being cited.
But what's the septic tank, the replacing the main house building drain to septic tank without the required permits? What's that
Is that
part?
going to be covered under the alteration permit? That would be dependent on the plans. Is Jay Ham here? No. He may not know.
It's saying that they need a letter from the Department of Health for the existing septic tank.
The plumbing work could be tied into the alteration permit, that's listed as laundry room. It just kind of depends on what the plans that they've submitted, and the county has already
That's not what I'm-
submitted multiple corrections.
That's not what I'm asking.
Okay.
There's another part that says replacing the main house building drain to septic tank. Does that need a separate permit?
That might be in the alteration as the plumbing work, possibly.
I can't go off a might. I need a must.
I mean, it should fall under the plumbing part of the permit. It would all, I mean, the sewer would be tied in for plumbing purposes also.
Okay, so that's one permit for, related to the plumbing, one permit, and they may all be combined, but
So-
the issues are plumbing and electric and installation of the shed.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. I was just digging through here trying to figure it out.
No worries, I just want to make it clear in the order, and so that's why I'm trying to make sure that I have all of the required permits.
Okay.
Okay, and however, once it gets to you all and the permits are completed, it doesn't matter to me how you all, what you call them. I just want to make sure I'm calling them the right thing in the
Okay.
order. Okay. Do you all have any further testimony? I believe you do, because I stopped you right in the middle, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I don't even know where this came from.
I think you were
You stopped at
Oh,
that.
at the
yeah,
end of
yeah.
these comments.
Yes, they have comments for both. We kind of went over that already. Which one is this? 6641. Okay, so this is the laundry room application. These are the comments that were submitted by zoning, drainage, and building review. This slide shows the chapter 40, which they're in violation of. And the recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-33 CESM. It is determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 5214 Orange Avenue, Winter Park in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before September 11th, 2025. In order to correct those violations, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. Inspector Brent Griffin was assigned to this case.
I have presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested to be entered into the record. I'm Brent Griffin with the Seminole County Building Division.
Do you have any objection to the electronic case file being submitted to the record?
As far as the plumbing that goes wrapped around the house is no longer there. We're actually doing it from the side of the house, which was the original laundry room converted into a bathroom. Now we're running the plumbing to the front.
Okay, so do you have any objection to the
No,
electronic
I
case file
just-
being submitted?
Somebody else had done this. Now I'm trying to correct the mistakes and buy more time to fix the job and get the permits.
Okay. So I'll accept the electronic case file into the record. I understand that you're trying to fix something
Right.
someone else did, and I do understand that you have submitted permit applications. Do you believe that you will be able to complete the application process by September 10th?
I also do my own home renovations for real estate, so I'm trying to fit it into my schedule. So I think I can have it done by September 11th.
It would just be the application
Yes.
process, not the work,
Okay.
okay?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and order that the property, the violation on the property, that there is a violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, for failure to have the necessary permits. I will order that the property violation be brought into compliance by September 10th, or a fine in the amount of $100 a day will be imposed, and there will be a compliance hearing on September 11th.
Okay,
Okay?
fine enough.
Thank you.
That's it? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The next case is 2548 CESM, Ziki Yanakomusu and Irene. I apologize, that was a butcher. Can you please state your name, sir, for the record?
My name is Pedro Lopez, and I'm representing Seki Yonikomsu and her wife.
Okay, and can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state your affiliation with the case?
He's my godfather.
Your godfather? Okay. And he is giving you authorization to be here today and speaking on his behalf?
I have a power of attorney to represent him in different properties that he got.
Okay,
It can be
perfect.
part of record if
Do you have a
guys-
copy of that you can provide to the clerk? And can they keep that copy? Perfect, thank you. Thank you.
Mauricio. Oh, this one. I know this one.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division. Case 25-48 CESM is for the property located at 6350 North Ronald Reagan Boulevard in Sanford. This property is owned by Ziki and Irene Yenedekumusu. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is demolition and rebuild of the pool screen enclosure without the required permit. The case summary is as follows. The initial inspection and the notice to respondent were both conducted July 12, 2024. The compliance dates and extensions provided for this case are shown on the screen, as well as the follow-up inspections for on-site visits and inspections via the computer. The results of those re-inspections are that the violation remains on the property. This screenshot from the property appraiser's website shows Siki and Irene Yenekamusu are the record owners of the property. This is a copy of the received certified return receipt for the notice of hearing for this hearing. And when the inspector drove past the property on July 9th, 2025, the violation remains behind the new fencing that has been installed on the property. These are photos of the demolished pool enclosure, which were taken September 17th, 2024. On October 22nd, during the inspection, the pool screen enclosure had been replaced without a permit. Mail was received for the amended notice of violation and the final letter. Due to the return mail, a copy of this letter was posted on the property. It was handed to the owner, Ziki, on October 22nd, 2024. This is a photo of the replaced pool screen enclosure taken during the inspection December 6, 2024. And this screen shows the permit history associated with this parcel. An application for a pool enclosure was received on October 15th, 2024, which would correct the violation. The application number is 24-16136. This application is currently under review. It has not yet been issued as a permit. There are outstanding corrections required for building and zoning departments. This slide shows the workflow routing slip for that permit application. It shows that the plan review step has been submitted back to the applicant with corrections as of March 27th, 2025. This slide shows a copy of those plan review comments for the permit application, both from building and zoning. And this is a copy of Chapter 40 in which they're in violation of. The recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-48 CESM. It is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 6350 North Ronald Reagan Boulevard in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before September 10th, 2025. In order to correct the violations, the respondent shall obtain the required permit for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance. Brent Griffin was the inspector assigned to this case.
I'm Brent Griffin with the Seminole County Building Division. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and request to be entered into the record.
Do you have any objections to the electronic case file being submitted into the record?
Yes.
Okay, what are your objections?
This information here is not correct.
Okay, what's not correct?
We have a situation here. I didn't have the pleasure to meet him before.
No,
But we have another inspector
that's
going-
not what I'm asking you. I'm
Okay.
asking you what documents in here are incorrect. You can provide your case in a moment.
Okay, I approve it.
So you accept, you do not object, okay. Then I'll accept the electronic case file into the record. I have a question. The zoning workflows indicate that the structure does not meet setbacks. So if the structure does not meet setbacks, there's no way he can get a building permit in 2 months.
I'm looking for the comment from zoning that says a variance may be needed due to the setbacks. There it is. There were multiple corrections on here, so the slideshow doesn't show each single correction. There's
Okay.
multiple pages, but I'm looking at a copy of the workflow or the comments report I can give to you right now. It does say from zoning, include all setbacks on the site plan, and the proposed area of work may not meet the front yard setback of 50 feet for this zoning district.
Wait, the front yard setback, the pool screen's in the backyard.
And it says, please contact Seminole County Planning Office to apply for a variance.
But from a front yard setback for a backyard structure?
I'm looking through all of them now. I believe we have a representative from planning that may be able to discuss these in more detail. I'm only seeing front yard setback on here, but it does say that the site plan is illegible and incomplete as well. If you want to read. Oh, you did, okay. But I mean, that was back in March.
Yeah, so there's not been anything since March from zoning.
So right here. Site plan that was submitted, include all site plans shall include, that's probably why she's asking for the front yard setback, side yard.
Just mentions front.
So I'm not understanding the 50 feet front yard setback issue for a backyard. So if someone can provide some testimony on that.
On the 32725 comment,
She doesn't have that copy.
I have it.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah.
it says that it appears there was a taking for the road which reduced your front yard. Please provide a complete site plan. They're probably asking for a site plan for the entire property just to make sure that it meets that,
Let the-
saying that it reduced their front yard.
Yeah, let's let,
Dagmar Isagara, Deputy Director, Development Services. Because of the location of the lot, it's kind of like a sort of like a corner lot,
Okay.
the way that it houses position. That's why part of the south of the pool or the screen enclosure needs to meet the front yard because of
Okay.
the way the house is positioned. But the survey that was provided was not clear enough to really read the number of the setback. That's why it says that it may. So
Okay.
because of the survey, you cannot read that number clearly. That's why that comment was made.
Okay, and was there a taking on the property that would have, and if there is a taking, let me ask it this way, actually. If there is a taking, does Seminole County have a forgiveness for a taking of theirs?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
That would be a hardship that we would then request the board
Variance.
for approval of the variance.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Okay. So it appears that a variance would be needed, so, for the process. How long would the variance process take? I'm sorry. At least 2, from the application, once everything, okay. All right. Okay, sir.
So we already understand that point exactly that we're having with the site plan. Also is that when we bought the property was abandoned, okay? And we started to clean all the property and we found out there was damage on the roof by a tree that fell on the roof. And that same tree fell on the cage. So what we did, we removed part of the roofing area, we replaced it with wood, and we just put some underlayment. We never did anything on the roof. And we got cited by the sheriff department, code enforcement, because of that open cage that we have. We
Okay.
didn't have any screens. And we talked to the code enforcement and says, what do we need to do? I says, you need to enclose it. I said, but if you see, we need to fix the bottom part so we can secure that the right way because of the tree. She says, you know what? You're right. Just fix that and I will clear this. If you look on the record, she cleared us about that.
Okay, just because you're cleared through the code enforcement department for the pool enclosure doesn't mean it was done properly. I mean, you need to have
Like I was trying to say
permit.
before, I didn't have the privilege to meet him before this day, because there's another inspector that is going to our home. And he has been talking to us, and we have been here a couple of times. And that inspector not only told us that it was okay, he asked me to remove a carport that has been in that property since 1982 and approved, and we have been paying property taxes for that space over there.
Does the county have another inspector that would have been out there?
Jason Rucker was out there prior to me.
Okay, okay. All right.
When we talked to him, we said, we don't have any issues to follow, guidelines, but he was there when the sheriff code enforcement was. He agreed to that. He told us that we need to move the carport. No matter it was there and got permits, we just move it out. We just took it out.
Okay, I don't have anything showing me about the removal of that, but that's not what you're here for today.
Okay, so
And so what you're here for today, regardless of what someone told you in the field, it wasn't this gentleman, and this gentleman is telling you that you have to have a permit, and he has shown where he's provided notice. And so I understand that you haven't seen him before today, but the property owner hasn't made an attempt to contact him either. And that's part of your
we
responsibility.
didn't know about him. Mr.
Well,
Seki Johnny
you received a notice from
He's
him.
not here. He's in Turkey.
You
and he
received,
can come.
sir, you received a notice from this gentleman. And so
From him? Mm-mm.
Yes, you did. It's in he provided testimony regarding the notice that you received from him. The notice was signed for today's hearing, so contact could have been made with this gentleman.
Who signed that?
I'm not sure. I don't know who that was. But somebody at the property signed for it, or we wouldn't have gotten the green card back from the post office. So, someone signed. So I'm not really sure, but you're here, so you had to have known about it somehow.
Because I follow all the information and I've been seeing everything. If you see on record, we asked for another permit to do the roof.
No, but sir, you just said you've not received a notice, but then you're here today.
You're putting me in a position right now very uncomfortable because I'm trying to speak to you properly and you interrupt me when I was trying to say. I came here for request another permit for my roof, and that's when I find out about this. Because for us, this was a closed case. Then we find out, we just told the deputy that we're gonna reinforce this and put it back because we never demolished anything. They told us to do it. We didn't put a new one. That's exactly the same one that has been there since 1982. The only thing that happened.
That full screen? That?
The screen is new.
Okay.
All that, he can go. We can show him that we painted and put the new tensors because they don't have nothing on the top.
Okay.
But the whole skeleton was there since 1982. We didn't move anything at all. And if you see the pictures over here, it's exactly the same one.
So even if you take the structure down, you still have to get a permit to reapply to put it back. Even if you use the existing materials, you paint it, whatever you decide to do, it still has to be attached per the code.
That's
Which
not a
still has us
problem.
coming out there to check everything so that we can go and make sure that everything's fastened correctly, it's not blowing all over the neighborhood.
That's not a problem. The
So
only
you would still
problem
need
that
a
we have
permit,
here.
but we're
But
separate.
you're interrupting him when he's providing testimony.
He's trying to force me to accept what the county want us to do.
Oh, sir, let me just tell you right now, he's not doing that, I am.
Yeah, but exactly.
And I'm going to, because that's what we're here for. And so you can either decide to work with the county within its codes, because right now, you're not working within its
That's not an
codes.
issue. The issue is about money. Right now, they're asking me to pay $10,000 to come on compliant for something that was there already. That's not fair for us. Why do I need to pay $10,000 for an engineer report? The guy was.
I'll tell you what.
told me, and a new survey.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you the time necessary to follow the county's code. If you choose not to follow the county's code, that'll be your decision.
I'm not saying that. I'm
And
just
if-
saying that it's $10,000.
Let me finish, please. If you decide not to follow the county's code, and quite frankly, this isn't your property, so if the property owner decides not to follow the county's code, then you're going to have a fine imposed. So I am going to be mindful of the fact that you need a variance, and so I'm going to give you until December 10th to come into compliance. If you do not come into compliance by December 10th, by receiving your building permits for the pool enclosure, you will have a fine imposed in the amount of $250 a day. Thank you.
Judge, can I add something real quick too?
Sure.
When I went out there yesterday for the follow-up inspection, I realized that the fence is also unpermitted, so they're going to have to actually get a permit for that as well.
I was just about to ask that. So, not part of this case, but you will have a separate case, and you will be back here if you do not obtain a permit for the fence also. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
The next case is 2547 CESM Nain Shea Investments. Did I pronounce that properly?
I should have been listening.
Okay, tell me what it is, really.
Ganesha.
Ganesha. Ah, whenever I try to pronounce the G, I'm usually wrong, so, okay. Can you state your name, please, for the record, sir?
Nikunj Patel.
Okay, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please state your affiliation with the case?
I'm one of the owner of the location.
Okay, thank you.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division. Case 25-47 CESM for Ganesha Investment LLC is for the property located at 1823 Longwood Lake Mary Road. The violation charged is Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is work completed for new lighting and electrical conduits without the required permits. The case summary is as follows. The initial inspection and the notice to the respondent were sent August 14th, 2024. The compliance dates and extensions provided for the case are shown on the screen, as well as follow-up site inspections and inspections done via computer research. The results of these re-inspections are that the violations remain on the property. This screenshot from the property appraiser's website shows Ganesha Investment LLC is the record owner of the property. And this is a copy of the received certified return receipts for the notices of hearing for this hearing. The inspector conducted an inspection July 9th, 2025. The photo is on the screen showing the property where the violations were located. This slide shows from the inspection conducted on the, today on the 10th, not the 9th. Shows that the lighting has been removed from certain areas of the structure and replaced with new lighting. These are additional photos showing the same violation there. And previous to this, inspections were done August 8th, 2024, and this shows the exterior electrical and the lighting. Additional photos taken September 23rd, 2024, and December 3rd, 2024, showing the electrical and lighting installed on the building. Go ahead, next slide. All right, and here's a copy of the global screen showing the permit history for the parcel. Shows permit application number 19-17412, which is shown as site lighting on the screen. That was issued, which corrected a previous code violation, is now expired. Next slide. This shows a copy of Chapter 40 in which they are in violation of. The recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 25-47 CESM. It is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 1823 Longwood Lake Mary Road in Longwood, Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records. They are in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It is further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before September 10th, 2025. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance, and Inspector Brent Griffin was assigned to this case.
I'm Brent Griffin with the Seminole County Building Division. I presented a copy of this presentation to the clerk and requested to be entered into the record.
Thank you. Do you have any objection to the electronic case file being submitted into the record?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll accept the electronic case file. Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to know because the permit that was before we took over the business, because we took over that end of the 2022.
Okay.
And we was not aware that the previous owner has pulled the permit and did any light work. So when we took over, we took it as it is. We didn't change anything. And I see that there's another change because we just sold the business to somebody else, you know?
So you don't own the business anymore?
No, only the property. we
Oh, you own
it.
the building, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We own the property. So they changed another light. So obviously, I'm going to have him, or myself including, we're going to have electrician pull the permit and get this corrected, so that way it's back to the normal compliance, you know?
Okay, and then any work that was done prior to, if there's other stuff that
No,
was
there was
done?
nothing, just a light, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay, but there are some things that were, other things that were changed other than that one light, correct?
So
I think-
they did have stuff that was there that they have removed.
So then that stuff's fine, the stuff that
Yeah,
was
so
removed?
where we're at is if they get the 19 permit reissued, then it will get them in compliance with the case.
Okay.
Okay.
So how long do you think it will take you to come into compliance? Do you think you can do it by September 10th? That's what the county is asking.
Yeah, we should, I just need to hire the electrician to
Okay.
pull the permits and that, so that should bring it to the compliance if I'm not making, because I'm not sure what the 2019 had it in there. So I'm gonna have the electrician to get a copy of that. And if you don't mind telling me, where do I get the copy? For the old permit, so that way he knows exactly what was in the permit and whatever he does for the new permits, or,
Yeah, we have a public records department that can get those plans for you. All the application documents and the approved plans can be provided. The email address is BP Public Records. There might have a business card for it at the front counter of the building division if you want to pick that up before you go, just out these doors to the left, and the building division can get you that written down if you need to.
Okay,
Or
ma'am.
request it there. You can get it today.
okay.
All right, good deal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and find that you are, the property is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, and order that you bring the property into compliance by receiving the proper building permits by September 10th, or have a fine of $200 a day imposed, and a compliance hearing will be set for September 11th.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next case is 2501 CESM Andre Lancaster.
I never remember. Every time I do it different, and I get mad at myself. Just pick a lane.
You want to take the other one off and you just hold it in your socks? Can't drive with the brakes on.
That's me.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's gonna blow.
Well, it's going to blow in my face then.
No, it's a new case. Oh, 50. That's our fault every time.
Hi, sir. Can you please state your name?
Andre Lancaster.
Okay. Okay. Do you, will you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Case 25-01 CESM, Andre Lancaster, for the property at 115 Larkspur Drive, Altamont Springs, in Seminole County. The description of violation is installation of addition to the back of the house without the required permit. This case was originally heard by the special magistrate on May 8th, 2025, and an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of July 9th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for July 10th, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $177.82. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $716.94, for a total administrative cost of $894.76. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien retroactively to July 9th, 2025, and continuing to accrue at $150 per day until in compliance.
Can I have some testimony regarding the violation?
The violation is for the installation of the house, or installation of the addition to the back of the house. Let's see if we can get to some of the photos where we can actually see it. There we go. During the inspection on February 1st, 2024, this is what the inspector observed. There is a application in place with the building department for rebuilding the storage. It was received January 14th, 2025. It is under review. However, it has not yet been issued due to required corrections sent from the drainage, zoning, and building departments. The task was submitted back to the applicant June 30th, 2025 with corrections, and it remains on the applicant's side awaiting those completed corrections.
Okay. And so it looks like there have been back and forth with information being provided by the property owner?
There were 2 review cycles.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sir?
Yes, hi.
Hi. So it appears that you're not in compliance with the order. Are you, have you seen these comments? Are you working on it? Is
Well,
someone?
I hired an architect.
Okay,
He's submitting all the drawings, and he's had the last 4 months to work on it. And then I have my son-in-law, and he's the one working with the architect. A lot of it's done through electronic mail, which I don't understand or use. So he's working with the architect, and I check with him each week and ask him, what is needed for compliance? I paid the architect in full. Everything is, I expect that everything to be done by today, as far as the drawings being approved, because I have a red flag. I can't do anything until I get approved. So I want to get approved very much. And I don't think the approval process, I was told by my son-in-law that everything has been done, and that the architect submitted everything, and he said, by today. And I said, well, time-wise, it's not very good, because I'm supposed to be in court today. He said, by today, everything should be submitted and moving forward. So I'm a little confused. I'm sorry, I'm in a lot of pain today. I have a foot infection that's costed me, that flares up, and today is like a bad day.
I'm sorry about that.
So I would hope and think, I guess things aren't ready today. I'd like to come back and have the architect make sure that everything has been properly submitted and approved. I don't think, it's not a major operation we're doing here. We're just adding basically a storage room onto the house. That used to be a room before, and the hurricane tore it down. So I'm rebuilding a room that used to be on the house
using existing foundation.
Okay, and you still would need to have the appropriate plans and permits
Yeah.
in order to do that. So how long do you think it's going to take for your architect to complete everything?
I think 60 days should be more than enough.
Okay. Does the county have any objection to 60-day continuance?
No.
Okay. Then I will go ahead and order that, I'll amend my prior order. And let me check. My prior order dated May 8th, 2025, and the new compliance date will now be September 10th, 2025. Okay?
That'll work out well.
Okay. Then we will see you back here, hopefully with a complied case on September 11th. Thank
very
you.
much. You've been excellent. I appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Did you write that down? I guess they're going to give us paperwork. Well,
Yes, you will receive an order.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's nice working with Seminole County.
Good. Good, good. Okay, the next case is 2532 CESM, Erlin Rodriguez Santos and Mandy Reyes Hernandez.
Where are those 6 of them? Oh.
Okay. Can I get both of you to raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Can you please state your name and affiliation?
Mandy Reyes, owner.
Erlin Rodriguez, owner.
Okay. Are the two of you going to provide any testimony?
If required, ma'am.
Okay.
Ruth Goldstein, Building Division. Case 25-32 CESM is for the property located at 3021 Freedom Trail, Oviedo, which is owned by Erlan J. Rodriguez Santos and Mandy G. Reyes Hernandez. Violation charged is Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, for interior and exterior alterations to a pole barn, including mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, without the required permits. On June 12, 2025, an order was issued extending the compliance date to July 9th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for July 10th, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $157.74. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector costs $716.94, for a total of $874.68. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien to July 9th, 2025 at $500 per day and continuing to accrue until in compliance. This concludes my presentation.
So can I have some testimony related to the violations still existing on the property? There have been no building permits even applied for?
There was one applied for today and issued this afternoon for a heat pump. The heat pump is shown right there, permit 25-10554, that was issued today. That was removed from the violation, so the only violations remaining on this case right now are those interior and exterior alterations to the pole barn.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a different case.
Oh, yeah.
So it's taken a while because we went ahead and hired a contractor, the engineer, and I've been working on the process since the last court date. So we got contract signed with the contractor. We have Miguel here, the engineer. I've been meeting with Brent as well, which he has been helping me, letting me know what needs to be applied for and what we need to do so we can go ahead and do this right.
Okay.
So basically, when I first bought this property, it was like an investment property to start with, and this was basically my first one. So I hired someone, and I paid them basically in full to do the driveway, to do everything. I signed NOCs for them to pull permits, and at the end, I saw that they didn't pull anything, and it was too late because I already paid them. Afterwards, a couple months passed, I hired somebody else to do the drawing of the house, basically to start remodeling, and I also paid like $1,000 upfront for them to start drawing it, and they disappear on me. So I've been screwed over like 3-4 times on this property. I understand that it took me a while to get here. I missed some court dates. I just basically didn't have the money or the funds, and to be honest, I froze, and I didn't know what to do with it until now. That's late.
Okay. How long do you believe it will take you to get the permits? I'll need to swear you in if you'll step up to the mic. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you state your name, please?
Yes, Mike Santiago.
Okay. And what is your affiliation with the case?
I'm the professional engineer that was hired to basically work with rent and kind of legalize what we need to complete for, to be compliant.
Okay. And how long do you believe is going to be necessary for you to get permits?
As far as submitting the application, ma'am?
Well, to actually get the permit.
Submitting the application, not actually receiving the permit. I'm thinking that it's likely going to be about 5 months because we have to go in to actually get all the information from the existing property and try to establish what was there before and what's proposed or there now to try to marry the two. There's going to be a lot of field work that I have to do, so I'm definitely asking for a lot of time. I'm thinking that it's likely going to be 4 or 5 months to be able to complete the package and have enough time for the county to review the permit and issue it, because the county is typically 30 to 45 days in their review.
They issued that today.
Oh, yeah, the heat pump, yes, ma'am, absolutely. The alteration one, I think is going to be a little bit more complex because they're going to dig in to make sure that there wasn't any structural modifications to the barn and such. So as an engineer, I really like to try to be very methodical in our approach and give the county as much information as possible and enough time for any revisions that are required that we can take care of.
So had we not been doing this for 2 months already, I might agree with you.
Understood.
And I do appreciate the fact that you want to be, it's your name that's sealing I completely understand it. But I need this to happen more quickly. So I'm willing to give 90 days. And that means you're going to have to, if the county will need longer, then you're going to need to work to get the stuff to them more quickly.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that you are here today because that shows me that there is intent to fix this. But I'm not going to give another continuance at all. Because, and now I'm speaking to you, sir. You sent her here by herself at the last meeting to try to figure out what was going on with this, and I think that is, excuse me, highly inappropriate. I understand that you froze, but she had to be here answering to this by herself, and that's not fair. You own this property just as much as she does. So I'm giving 3 months. I will not give another continuance. And because this is a repeat violation, and that means that you should have known you needed permits because you had a case before. So if it's not done in 3 months, $500 a day will start as a lien against your property per day until there's a permit received. And I will not give on any of the costs. I will put forward all of the costs that the county is asking for as well. So if your engineer asks you for any information, I would get it to him the day before he asks for it, in other words, on this, okay? Okay, so I will provide you with a continuance until October 8th with a compliance hearing of October 9th. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, there's
2528 CESM, Greer King, and David Vasquez, Greer King LLC.
Yeah, we're on Pine Street. 2528. I'll read it off this anyway.
All right. I mean, it should be like right here.
Here, I'll look. It's in there somewhere.
Thank you.
It's gotta be the top
That
one
one.
there. Yeah, I was
Hey,
gonna say,
thanks.
I got it right there.
I use this cheese chewing.
Just in case.
She's trying to tell me something. She's like, oh, you had a hard time reading last time? No problem. Font size 397.
Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And can you state your name, please?
David Vasquez.
Thank you.
Afternoon.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division. Case 25-28 CESM is for the property located at 2385 Pine Street, which is owned by Gray King LLC. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is interior residential alterations to include but not limited to removed and replaced trusses, main meter base and weatherhead, and enclosing a wall/window opening without the required permits. This case was originally heard by the Special Magistrate May 8th, 2025, and an order was issued giving the respondents a compliance date of July 9th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for July 10th, 2025. The administrative cost to proceed for this case for the clerk totals $98.66. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $730.33. The total administrative cost for both the clerk and the inspector is $828.99. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issues an order constituting a lien retroactively to July 9th, 2025, and continues to accrue at $250 per day until in compliance. This concludes my presentation. If you'd like to hear
Some testimony related to the permitting, please.
All right, you want to go ahead?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. Let's talk about the permit application. She wants to know where it's at. Or talk about your inspection.
There's a 16671 has been applied for. And it's under review and has not been issued yet. Corrections were submitted to the county for review on 7/9/2025.
729?
7/9.
Oh, okay.
2025.
Okay. So, okay. And what are those comments? Is there anything that this is going to be?
Oh, you know what? I don't know if we have a call.
I thought.
It looks like, according to this, the slide here, this is the plan review workflow for that permit application, 16771, and it's actually on zoning side, so they are currently reviewing it. There's no corrections for that permit submitted, so it's on county side.
Okay, so do we have any idea how long it's going to take the county?
It's like, those reviews typically get done within the same day, so it's likely that's going to be completed. If it, Let me see if I have a
Other-
copy of the comments.
approvals. I do not see any in the PowerPoint. I don't see documents related to that.
Probably, if there's a lot of them, they can't fit in the PowerPoint, so we just print them
Okay.
out. So there's two. Here, Alexis. This is the ads that were submitted.
The paperwork that I just gave is the plan review comments that were previously submitted during the third review cycle. Those would have been the ones that the applicant would have reviewed to be addressing and would have submitted during the fourth review cycle.
Sir, do you have a professional working on this permit for you?
Yeah, we have a couple.
Okay.
Thank God. We have 2 engineers and a general contractor.
Okay.
I've been moving around a little bit, and I stepped out for a little bit to go back to the front desk.
Okay.
And they, a couple of minutes ago, it says status, pre-issuance final verification. So it was approved at 2:15. So everybody was here and they were pre-approved. So now we're waiting to pay on the fees, whatever the fees are. So we're happy about that, yes.
Okay. So
Super happy.
what I'm going to do is, I'll go ahead and continue it till the next meeting because I want you to have that compliance. And it seems to me like you've basically complied by, the time period that we've requested here. So we'll go ahead and continue to the compliance to August 13th with a compliance hearing of August 14th.
What would it require for us to be in compliance? What is expected for August 13th so that we could be in compliance?
You've got to have the permit in hand.
Okay, so the permit, we're just waiting to pay for it. If it's available today, we pay for it today.
Have you already reviewed the
Everything.
plans to make sure?
So we were just waiting for the amount to be assessed or something.
He said at 2:15 they did it.
Do you want to, we have a couple more cases. Do you want to see if he can get full compliance and then we'd be
You
able
said it's
to?
at payment, which means it's awaiting payment, which means the permit has to be paid for, and then it'll get routed back to building for issuance. So unless that's happened
Yes, so they're waiting to know what the amount that I need to
Okay.
pay is.
that's the pre-issuance review stage. There's a few things they button up before they send the task for payment. So likely may not be done today. We
Okay.
can confirm that. But another thing is inspector's going to have to review the plans once they get approved to make sure it satisfies all the criteria in the violation. So we
Okay.
have electrical and enclosing the wall included. Theoretically, would be all included on the same permit. We
Okay.
just have to confirm it.
Okay, then I would feel better with us not rushing it. I'll give you till the next meeting. So you come into compliance by August 13th.
Yeah, for us, we've been waiting for a year. It seems we have a mortgage that I am paying interest on because it's a construction loan. So it's
Okay.
been a year of me paying, trying to get through the process and everything put together. So we're actually happy that this is at this stage of the process because we're just paying interest. We're bleeding money.
Okay.
So we're just ready to get everything moved forward and hopefully the property finished.
Okay.
So we're in that direction.
Okay, good deal. Then we'll go ahead and continue you to August 13th with a compliance hearing of August 14th.
About how much time should I expect before the permits are ready for payment, and what would be the next step for us to move forward into construction?
I would say probably within a week. You
Within a
should
week.
Get everything back.
Okay.
And then I'll review the comments and what was submitted, and then I'll give them the okay if everything is correct on the plans.
So, next, would you say Tuesday, or is it?
The
should I
day the
come
permit
around
gets
Tuesday?
issued, the permit team notifies us. We send the plans over to the inspector, he reviews it, and so whenever the day the permit is issued is the day the case will be closed out, and then we'll notify the clerk. if the permit application's at pre-issuance, it likely takes 24 to 48 hours to get to issuance, you know, depending on if there's any weird problems. If the contractor's insurance is updated, there shouldn't be any issues.
Okay, so I should check in on Friday or Monday too,
Monday,
so I can make
for
the
sure.
payment, and then from there, it might take a week before we can hopefully get, so I heard there's a notice of commencement after that.
The
When-
notice of commencement's required to be on site during the inspection. So your permit, once it's issued, if you don't have that completed notice of commencement, the permit will be placed on hold. You will not be eligible to schedule inspections until you provide a copy of that recorded, it may not be recorded, check with the building department. It may just have to be certified notice of commencement.
Can I check that today?
Absolutely.
And can you explain the process to me? So I can start doing that today, the
Yeah, for
notice of
sure.
commencement
Yep.
process?
Yeah, your permit can be issued without a notice of commencement, but you cannot schedule inspections without it. So your violation will be in the clear, even if you don't have your NOC prepared.
Okay, but we can work on that today.
Yeah,
if I-
for sure,
And
yep.
where should I head to?
Go out these doors, take a left. You'll go
Okay.
through the double doors. You'll see the building division right there behind the glass. Sign in, and Jacqueline or Alex or Brian may help you out.
Great, front door.
Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds, everything good?
All right, good deal, thank you.
Thank you.
listening and heard-
Happy Thursday.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you, too. So, Lacasio. 2 months.
There's a graveyard aisle of workflows over here.
He was the one who argued and said he lived off the grid.
Recycle bin. Like, he did so much work in the
Okay.
process. I'm like, why did you didn't slave hours and miss lunches over this stuff?
Okay. I don't know, do I have anyone else? I don't have anyone else that's signed in.
Oh, wait.
What?
we have someone-
What case?
Someone in the back corner, too.
Yeah, I don't,
Did you sign in?
I signed it outside.
oh, you did. What case?
Or address.
220 Forest Drive.
Forest Drive is in compliance. Oh, my goodness.
24 what? It's in compliance? Did we not know that ahead of time?
They're just for costs, I believe, or
Right, but I want to know when someone's complied. I want to hear those first. I don't even have where they're signed in. I can't go through those. I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, sir, if you'll come up, 2443 CESM.
our other one was a complied prior.
Wolfram Nothnagel. Do you have his?
He came into compliance prior to hearing. Okay.
So we did get a continuance. Okay, so the property is in compliance at this time. Can you give me some testimony on the fees and costs? I believe that this case was, we entered an order for compliance on August 8th, 2024, giving till October 10th, 2024. On October 10th, 2024, we continued to January 9th, 2025. And then on January 9th, 2025, we continued till July 9th, 2025. And they're in compliance at this time.
Yes, they came into compliance June 20th, 2025.
Okay. And so can you give me the administrative costs in this matter, please?
Yes, the administrative cost to process this case for the clerk for 24-43 CESM is $227.15. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $716.94 for a total administrative cost of $944.09.
Okay. Do you have that amount? Okay, I'm going to find, based on the continuances in this case, there were a couple of continuances that were required to come into compliance. So I'm going to split the county's costs with you and order $472 be paid. How much time will it take you to pay that amount?
30 days.
Okay, I'll provide you with 30 days. And it's $472 even. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, she's not on this list, though.
Stephen Edge is our other compliance case.
I have her. So it's okay. I just need to know.
I think
It's
they're
okay.
on complied prior. Let's see.
And is she complied as well?
No, it's not even on here. 'Cause I think
Okay.
that was a.
The next case is Annabelle Fernandez, 2460 CESM. The one page or the 2 pages, I can do that. Okay.
Case 24-60 CESM. Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division. Case 24-60 CESM is for the property located at 1982 Longwood Lake Mary Road in Longwood, Seminole County, which is owned by Annabelle Fernandez. Violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of a wood fence without the required permit. On June 12, 2025, an order was issued extending the compliance date to July 9, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for July 10, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $297.56. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $822.14. The total administrative cost is $1,119.70. Recommendation is that the special magistrate issues an order constituting a lien to July 9th, 2025 at $150 per day and continues to accrue until in compliance. The case is not in compliance at this time. However, can you go to the global screen, please? She has submitted a permit application, and it has been diligently going through the review process. The screen shows that permit application 25-10316 is in plan check status, which means that it's still going through the review process, the plan review process. And I believe the pre-screen review stage that was shown on the screen, go to the last slide. This one that says 710, oh, the workflow slide, you're good. I believe that has already been finished and routed back with corrections because they have been going back and forth since yesterday and today. The forms that were uploaded a couple of days ago were not on the updated forms that the county just started. So the forms that she had submitted with a previous application were no longer valid. She had to redo those, and those were submitted today for review. So her permit is going through the flow. She obtained a variance for this particular application, so once it gets through the review process with the correct documents, it should be issued, which would correct the entire violation, and the case would be in compliance.
Okay, so the delay, the multiple delay is related to the variance that had to be obtained in order to move forward?
Yes, and her previous permit application timed out due to inactivity, so she had to reapply, and then when she did reapply, there were new forms that she was unaware of that had just happened in between that middle time.
Okay, and so she has been providing the information as soon as possible?
Yes.
It seems like?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How much time do we think it's going to take for it to be completed based on where it is today?
I would say less than a week.
Okay.
Even if I need a survey, because I guess that's like the last thing that I left off on.
How did you obtain your variance without a site plan or survey
I
showing where?
have a site plan and I submitted the site plan, but then one of the corrections was that I needed a survey, I don't know.
Something was incomplete about the site plan. Upload
Yeah,
a
I
site plan
submitted
showing the entire building. So I realize you may not have had time to do it before the hearing, but I would encourage you to talk with someone at the building counter, maybe even planning, unless
I
Marie
submitted
can
a
pull
new-
it up.
Like right before the meeting, I submitted a new
Okay.
site plan, but I guess I'm just, like, is the survey different than the site plan? Because the first time I applied for the permit, which that application was canceled because then I had to do the variance application, they accepted the site plan.
That's why I'm wondering if there's an element or specific criteria that's missing from the site plan that the permit techs are looking for.
Okay.
If you've gotten your approved variance, I'm not sure what else you could be needing, but perhaps Dagmar is here, she may be able to review that application and see where it's at, what the issues were. If not, then go next door. Yeah.
So if I do need a survey, I mean, I think that would take longer than 30 days maybe?
If you need a brand-new survey, then yes, you would, but I would wonder what planning has to say about that. You already have an approved variance with what you submitted, so I would have to talk with planning.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I feel like she has continued to go through the process and do everything that you all have requested. So I'm going to go ahead and give you until September 10th. If you can come into compliance before that, great.
Okay.
But I'll give you till September 10th to come into compliance so that we don't have a problem. And the compliance hearing date will be September 11th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good deal. Let's go ahead and hear that complied case, the 2519 CESM.
Okay. Stevenage.
I don't know if I put that one on there because it was a compliant.
Oh, I do.
You do have it?
I'm sorry.
Okay, that means I should have it. Lucasio, right?
Yes.
Number 10.
Was he told he didn't need to be here because he was in compliance?
Good question, that's in the case file.
Do we know?
The 219 Stephen A?
Yes.
He was in compliance.
Because he removed it.
He was in compliance, but was he told not to be here today because he was in compliance?
I don't have to check the notes.
Oh, okay.
talk to him? So you talked to him yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you talk to him before?
I didn't tell him.
Can't remember the case file, and we don't have access to the...
I did meet him on site yesterday. He demolished the wall.
Yeah, I know he's in compliance, but was he told not to be
but
here today?
That's where I was getting.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I did not tell him not to be here.
But you just told him he was in compliance.
I told him that I would get back with the office today because there was still a little portion of the wall left that he
Okay.
didn't completely demo, and I wanted to get with the building official to determine if he was okay, because I was fine with him being in compliance, just because he took down like 90% of the wall, and he's like, I didn't have time to take the last bit down. So I talked to the building official about it, and we determined that he would be in compliance, but we didn't inform him not come today.
Okay, can I have some testimony regarding the administrative costs that have been accrued in this case,
I didn't
please?
hear what you said. I'm sorry. About what?
The administrative costs?
Yes. The administrative cost for case 25-19 CESM for the clerk totals $138.24. The administrative cost for the inspector is $730.33, for a total administrative cost of $868.57. Our case notes didn't indicate that a phone call was made telling him not to come to the hearing.
Okay, based on the fact that he is in compliance and it only was one amended order that we had to go through, I'm going to split the costs with him in the amount of $434 to be paid in 30 days. Okay, next case. 2425 CESM, Ahmed and Sakina Nira Mohammed. And I am noting for the record that they have been represented by counsel normally. That is not present.
Okay, Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for the Building Division. Case 24-25 CESM is for the property located at 846 Isle Point, Sanford in Seminole County, which is owned by Ahmed and Sakina Nura Mohammed. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, and the description of the violation is installation of retaining wall without the required permit. On May 8th, 2025, an order was issued extending the compliance date to July 9th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for July 10th, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $384.89. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $715.02, for a total administrative cost of $1,099.91. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issues an order constituting a lien retroactively to July 9th, 2025 at $50 per day and continues to accrue until in compliance. If you can go to the slide with the global screen. This slide shows the permit history associated with this parcel. A permit application 23-16724 was applied for on October 24th, 2023, has not been issued due to a variety of corrections. In the last meeting with our zoning department, they have not heard anything from the owner with the exception of an update request from the HOA. The permit application has remained in PC or plan check status due to these outstanding corrections. And no further communications have been received from the owner since the previous hearing. And there's a photo that our inspector Brent Griffin took of the retaining wall today, which Julie can put up for us. The wall still remains on the property. And this concludes my presentation.
Okay, I'm going to find that the property owner has been properly noticed to be here today and has failed to be present either through representation or himself. I'm going to find that he is in violation of the orders, with the most recent being issued as the 6th amended order that was issued on May 12th, 2025, nunc pro tunc to May 8th, the date of the hearing. And I'm going to ratify my prior orders and impose a fine of $50 a day as of today, with costs in the amount of $1,099.91 being imposed to be paid within 30 days. Thank you. Okay, the next case, 2440 CESM, Rebecca Wiggins.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for Building Division. Case 24-40 CESM is for the property located at 1217 Gale Street in Apopka, Seminole County, which is owned by Rebecca A. Wiggins. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of carport without the required permit. On January 9th, 2025, an order was issued extending the compliance date to July 9th, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for July 10th, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $266.73. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $1,022.99. The total administrative cost for this case is $1,289.72. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issues an order constituting a lien retroactively to July 9th, 2025, and continues to accrue at $50 a day until in compliance. You go to the slide with the permit history, please. As of today, based on this slide, which is the global screen showing the permit history associated with 1217 Gale Street, no permit applications have been submitted or issued for the violations on the property. The previous slide. This shows that the certified return receipt for the notice of hearing was received and it was signed. I can see that it was received at the county January 29th, but I'm not sure when exactly it was signed, but I can't make out the printed name either. We have not received any further communication from the property owner. And as of the last inspection, which I believe was yesterday, yes, the violation remains on the property.
I'm going to find that the property owner was properly noticed to be here today, and she has failed to be present herself or through any representative. I'm going to find that the violation of the building code still remains on the property, and that I'm going to ratify all of my orders collectively, but the last in particular, giving till July 9th, they come into compliance. I'm going to impose a fine of $50 a day starting July 10th, and I'm going to impose costs in the amount of $1,022.99 to be paid within 30 days. Thank you. The next case is 2537 CESM, Revamp Capital.
Ruth Goldstein, Program Coordinator for Building Division. Case 25-37 CESM is for the property located at 495 Howard Avenue, Longwood in Seminole County, which is owned by Revamp Capital LLC. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. The description of the violation is installation of a fence without the required permit. This case was originally heard by the special magistrate on June 12, 2025, and an order was issued giving the respondents a compliance date of July 9, 2025, with a meeting scheduled for July 10, 2025. The administrative cost to process this case for the clerk totals $88.91. The administrative cost to process this case for the inspector totals $837.45, for a total administrative cost for both the clerk and the inspector of $926.36. The recommendation is that the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien to July 9th, 2025, and continuing to accrue at $250 per day until in compliance. The notice of hearing on the previous slide was posted on the property due to the mail being returned. Go ahead, next slide. This shows a copy of the permit history screen, or permit history associated with 495 Howard Avenue. There are no permits issued or applied for to correct the violation. The permit shown on the screen is not related to the fence violation. The violation remains as of July 9th, 2025. You can scroll, go on the pictures that shows the, here we go. There's the violation right there. That chunk of fencing. And this concludes my presentation.
I find that the property owner was properly noticed to be here today and has failed to be present either through by itself or any representative. I'm going to find that the property is still in violation of the county's code for failure to obtain the necessary permits for the fence. I'm going to ratify my prior order that the property of June 12th, 2025, that and impose a fine in the amount of $250 a day starting today, July 10th, 2025, and impose costs in the amount of $926.36 to be paid within 30 days. Thank you. Okay, so that is the last case. So I'm going to go ahead and set the next meeting for August 13th. Thank you. We're adjourned. Oh, August 14th, sorry. Oh, and we do have some other business today. And it is the introduction of Code Enforcement Division Manager John Martin. So John Martin, if you want to.
Do you have to approve the minutes or anything? Oh, that's fine.
We did. Oh, I went all kinds of out of order today, didn't I?
No, you did really well. We've already met before the hearing, actually. We will be setting a time, hopefully, that you and I can sit down and talk about the future and some changes that are coming. We're currently working on some ordinances to facilitate some of the changes that need to be made. We should have a team in place and ready to take off by October 1.
Okay.
All the code violations cited in the county will be done by our department moving forward. A lot of intricate details to work out, and again, you and I need to have a sit down and talk about directions and how things are going to move forward so that we can all be on the same page moving forward. So
fantastic.
I look forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Absolutely. Good deal. All right.
Absolutely.
We will go ahead and approve the minutes for June 12th, 2025. Confirm that the next meeting date is August 14th, Alexis, 2025 at 1:30. So we are adjourned. Thank you.